everyone. In this video, let us try to understand POS tagging. So you may be wondering, what is this POS basically? Yeah, we have studied this in school and we call it as parts of speech. I hope now you remember that, right? So what is parts of speech and why should we understand that? Okay, so let me tell you that we are basically doing natural language processing, which is completely related to what is that unstructured data, right? So which is completely related to unstructured data, right? So here what we are trying to do here is basically parts of speech tagging, right? So let us understand what is POS, right? So say for example, just think about a sentence in your mind, right? Now think another sentence now, another sentence now. So how do we frame a sentence, right? So have you ever stopped to think how we structure phrases? They are not random choices of words. See, I asked you to think about a statement. It was not just a random choice of words, right? So when you thought about a sentence, you actually followed some structure, right? So that it gives a proper reasoning or meaning to the phrase, right? Say, for example, we follow some cultural conventions from childhood. So like after that, what happened? Like it might have changed with respect to the region or the background, right? So with respect to the region or the background. So, however, inside one language, there are certain rules like what is correct or what is not correct, right? Say, for example, in English, what I can say is there is a rule. There is a rule that adjectives are more commonly positioned before noun, right? So, adjectives are positioned before the noun. So, what I try to say over here, let me write something now. Say, for example, hot sun. So what does this basically mean? Sun is a noun and hot is an adjective, right? So always we place the adjectives before the noun. Yes. So what are verbs? We have studied about verbs also, right? So verbs are words that denote actions and which have to exist in a phrase, right? So verbs are words that denote actions. So dancing or singing or whatever it is, right? So that is also always there, right? So basically, these rules are called as syntax. Okay, so whatever the rules, what we said was basically a syntax. So according to Wikipedia, it is basically the set of rules, principles, and processes that govern the structure of sentences, right? So now, if you are wondering, a grammar. So what is meant by grammar? Grammar is basically which is equal to no syntax plus phonology, right? Plus morphology, like so syntax plus phonology plus morphology, right? So these contains all the types of important rules of a written language, right? So let us try to understand this. Say, for example, if we have to, so now let me tell you what is parts of speech, right? So part of speech tagging is the process of assigning different labels known as POS tags to the words in a sentence. So that tells us about the part of speech of the word, right? So there are basically two types of POS tag. One is universal tag and another one is detailed POS tags that we will see. So I'm here again and again saying about syntax, right? So what is meant by syntax? Syntax is nothing but it is a set of rules, it is a set of principles and processes that govern the structure of sentences in a given language. And it is usually including word order, right? So like, for example, to better be able to predict these rules, it is being defined that like words belong to classes according to the rule they assume in the phrase, right? So these roles are the things called parts of speech. So there could be number of distinct roles that may vary from school to school. So there are, say, for example, most of the times we give importance to those 8 rules, basically. That is what we have studied in the school, right? So that we will see. So parts of speech tags have a large number of applications because in case if you study something, you should know why I am studying it, why I am studying it. and what is the purpose of it, right? So why is it really required? It is really required for text cleaning, feature engineering task, and the third one is about word sense disambiguation, right? So text cleaning, feature engineering task, word sense disambiguation. So let us try to analyze two sentences now. So the first sentence is like, please book my flight for New York. And the second sentence is that I like to read a book on New York, right? So sentence one, please book my flight for New York. And the second sentence is that I like to read a book on New York, right? So here again, you can see that book and book. Do you think that both are same meanings? So this is what I was telling about this word sense ambiguities, right? So here it is saying that please book my flight. But this is basically a book. Book in the sense it is going to be noun. This is basically a verb, right? So based upon the sentences, it is basically changing, right? So this is what, this is why we are giving more importance to the syntax, right? Hope this is clear, right? Now let us understand, just like that, I wanted to show you like what are these parts of speech and all. You can see that basically an adjective, adverb, article, pronoun, conjunction, noun, preposition, and verb, right? So let us try to understand what is that, right? So when we talk about adjective, it could be something like a beautiful, a green, wonderful, awesome, right? So, right, so this is basically adjective. And when we talk about adverb, it could be like hardly, above, soon, sorry, soon, which is basically explaining about the verb, right? So the next one is about article. Article means and the, right? So the next one is about pronoun. Pronoun in the one is the one that is explaining about the noun. Basically, it could be it, he, or she, you, like that, right? So the next one is about conjunction. Conjunction is just, it acts like a bridge in the sentence. So it could be like and, or but, or it. And the next one is about noun, right? So the next one is about noun. What is noun in the sense? Like I can say that it could be anything like a cat, apple, guitar, violin, or it could be spoon, something like that, right? So the next one is about preposition. Preposition is nothing but to, with, in, and all, right? So the next one is about verb. Verb we know, right? So what is basically the verb, right? Like working, stood, ran. So all these things are basically verb, right? So now let us try to understand the methods of POS tagging. So before that, let me tell you, like when you consider NLP, it is also common to consider there are some other classes like determiners, numerals, right? Numerals and then punctuation, right? Determiners, numerals, and then punctuation. And there are also some deeper variations of these main classes like proper nouns and present tense, past tense, all those kind of stuffs, right? So in current day NLP, like there are two tag sets that are commonly used to classify the parts of speech of a word. Like it could be universal dependencies tag set. Simply we call it as it is being done by Spacey. And the second one is pen tree bank tag set. So that is being used by NLTK, right? So ultimately, what POS tagging means is assigning the correct POS tag to each word in a sentence, right? So today it is more commonly done using automated methods. So let's try to understand how useful it is, right? So people ask this question like when and why we use POS tagging, right? So you want to know what are the qualities of a product in a review. So one way is that you can extract only the adjectives into the review, because when you extract only the adjectives, it could be like good or bad, something like that, right? Also, you could use these words to evaluate the sentiment of the review. right? So this is one of the applications of POS tagging, right? And then as mentioned, the POS of a word is important to properly obtain the word's lemma, right? So this is basically the canonical form of a word. So for example, what is the canonical form of living? To live or living, right? So it is basically, it depends upon semantically on the context and syntactically on the POS of living. So if living is an adjective, like in living room, right? So we have base form living. If it is a noun, it could be he does it for living. So, but if it is a verb, he has been living here. It is to live. These are the example, right? So this is where the POS matters. So considering, see, what I try to say over here is when I say living, it could be like a to live, it could be living, it could be living, so it could be adjective, it could be verb, sorry, it could be noun, it could be noun, it could be noun, it could be verb, right? Fine. So considering all these cases, then use POS tagging when there is a need to normalize the text in more intelligent manner, right? So another use is to make some handmade rules for semantic relation extraction, like attempting to find actor, like a noun or proper noun, action, and modifiers based on this POS tags, right? So how it can be done? So now we have to understand how it can be done. So in case if you read out any articles on stemming and you have no experience in the area, then you might be frightened by the idea of creating a huge set of rules to decide whether a word is this or that POS, right? So while so sometimes like let me explain this way. Basically, like I'm saying that we have to do POS tagging basically to do certain tasks like sentiment analysis or whatever it is, right? So in this case, there may be a question like how we can do this POS tagging. So it can be done in several ways, like a manual tagging, rule-based tagging, stochastic or probabilistic methods, and the fourth one is deep learning methods, right? So first, let us try to understand rule-based tagging, right? Rule-based tagging. What is this? So before that, let me explain what is manual tagging, right? So say, for example, in the schools, what we have done, we have this parts of speech sentences that is being given as the homework, or the teacher may teach in the class, and we used to sit and manually connect with that, like what is verb, what is noun, what is adjective, right? So that is basically manual tagging. So what is the problem here is this is time consuming because this is a non-automated method. Right. So the next one is about rule-based tagging. So this is the first automated way to do tagging, right? So it consists of a series of rules basically. So it can be done by a specialist and it can easily get complicated, right? So here here if you look into this, this basically use dictionary or lexicon for getting possible tags, okay, for tagging each word. So if the word has more than one possible tag, then rule-based taggers use handwritten rules to identify the correct tag. So disambiguation can also be performed in rule-based tagging by analyzing the linguistic features of a word along with its along with its preceding, right? So this is what you have to understand over here, right? So this is basically the rule-based tagging, right? So we have seen basically the first part about manual tagging. Now we are trying to understand what is this rule-based tagging, right? So the next one is about stochastic POS tagging. So this is basically in stochastic based model. What I can say is it is an automated way to assign a POS to word based on the probability that a word belongs to a particular tag, or it could be based on the probability of a word being a tag based on a sequence of preceding or succeeding words, right? So these are preferred, most used and most successful methods so far, right? So they are actually also the simple one to implement. So again, here there could be two types. One is automated probabilistic methods, discriminative probabilistic classifier like logistic regression, SVM, conditional random field. And the next one is generative probabilistic classifiers. So the examples are naive Bayes, hidden Markov models, etc. Right? So the properties of stochastic POS tagging is these taggers are knowledge-driven taggers. The rules in rule-based POS tagging are built manually, and here the information is coded in the form of rules. So we have some limited number of rules, approximately around 1,000, and smoothing and language modeling is defined explicitly in rule-based taggers, right? So when we talk about transformation-based tags, so this is the next one, transformation-based tags. So like if you compare the similarity between rule-based and transformation tagger, then like rule-based, it is also based upon the rules, what specify what tags need to be assigned to what words, right? So the similarity between the stochastic and transformation tagger then like a stochastic. So it is basically a machine learning technique in which rules are automatically induced from data, right? So here how it is being proceeded, it is started with a solution, then the most beneficial transformation chosen, and then it is being applied to the problem. Say for example, start with a solution. So this transformation based learning usually starts with some solution to the problem, and it works in cycles. And then when we talk about this beneficial transformation chosen, in each and every cycle, this transformation based learning, it will choose the most beneficial transformation and then applying to the problem. So it is basically the transformation chosen in the last step. It will be applied to the problem, right? So the next one is about the deep learning method. So here we have to first download a corpus, and then so first let me tell you what is this basically. Methods that we use that use deep learning techniques to infer POS tags. So far these methods have not shown to be superior to stochastic or probabilistic methods in POS tagging. So it is at most at the same level of accuracy at the cost of more complexity or the training time, right? So these results are thanks to the further development of stochastic or probabilistic methods, so which are mostly done using supervised machine learning techniques. Okay, so I'll try to I'll try to offer the most common and simpler way to POS tag. So for doing that, how these steps can be done, right? So first download a corpus. First download a corpus. So a corpus is how we call a data set in NLP, right? So we may use pen tree bank sample from NLTK and universal dependencies corpus, right? So the second step is that we have to extract the features from the words. So we do that by getting word termination or preceding word or checking for hyphens, etc. Right? So this will compose the feature set which is used to predict the POS tag. Then the third step is that we load and train a machine learning algorithm. We will use a conditional random field so that it is compatible with the sklearn. So the most used machine learning module in Python. Then we test the trained models. Then we check the F1 scores for each one. So we actually provide a way to test the models in a more practical manner, right? Then we save the models to be able to use them in our algorithm, right? So the next one is about POS tag, right? So again, the same point, we are going to understand this in detail basically. So the first type of grammar is constituency grammar. So what is meant by constituent in the sense any word or group of words or phrase that can be termed as constituents, right? So the goal of this constituent grammar is to organize the sentence into its constituents using certain properties. So these properties are driven by a speech tag or noun or verb phrase identification. Say, for example, constituency grammar can define any sentence that can be organized into three constituents like subject, context, or object, right? Clear with that, right? So say, for example, constituency grammar can define that any sentence can be organized into three constituents. This is being really important to understand a subject, context, or an object, right? So these constituents can take different values, and accordingly it can take different sentences, right? So the cats, the dogs, see, let me tell you what that mean basically. So when I say that the cats, and I'm saying that are running, and then I'm writing in the park. Okay, so let us try to understand basically. This is being the subject, and this I can say that this could be the context, and this is the object, right? So another way to look at the constituency grammar is to define that in terms of parts of speech tag, say a grammar structure containing a determiner, noun, adjective, verb, preposition, determiner, noun, right? So this corresponds to the same sentence. So, like in case if you write the same sentence like the cats are running in the park. So we can say that this is basically noun, right? This is basically the noun, and this running is basically the verb. And here, what is happening in the park, right? So in the park is again going to be noun, right? So this is what we are dealing with this, right? So the next one is about dependency grammar. Next one is about the dependency grammar, right? So right. So when we talk about dependency grammar, we can also have different type of grammar. That's basically dependency grammar. Say, for example, in the same dog, we are taking like a barking dog, right? And the dog was modified by barking, as the dependency adjective modifier exists between the two. So basically, what is happening here? Dependency grammar organizes the words of a sentence according to their dependency. So one of the word is taken as a one of the word is being taken as the root, right? One of the word is being taken as the root, and all the other words are directly or indirectly linked to the root using their dependencies, right? So these dependencies represent the relationship among the words in a sentence, right? So it is basically to understand the structure and semantic dependencies between the words, right? We will look into this in detail, right? So now let us try to understand the next one. So when we talk about this parts of speech, like these tags are used in universal dependencies, a project that is developing cross-linguistically consistent tree bank annotation for many languages, right? So these tags are based on the type of word. So example, noun, that's common noun, adjective, adverb, right? Right, fine. And so another way to look at constituency grammar is to define them in terms of parts of speech tag, say a grammar structure containing, as I said, determiner, adjective, verb, preposition, determiner, right? So this is what you can see about this universal POS tags like adjective, adverb, adposition. So I think this is reverse, auxiliary, coordinating conjunction, determiner, interjection, noun, numeral, a particle, and pronoun, a proper noun, punctuation, subordinating conjunction, symbol, verb, and others, right? So when we talk about this detailed POS tags, so here these are the result of division of universal POS tags into various tags like NNS for common plural noun and NN for the singular common noun compared to noun for common nouns in English, right? So these tags are language specific, right? Fine. So now we understand that why we study about POS tags basically, and we also know what is POS tagging and how POS tagging is being done, right? So let me show some examples. Like, so you can look into this above example, it, right? So PRON, took, verb, me, pronoun, more, adjective, than SCONJ, to NUM. NUM means it is basically a number, numerical, right? So has, noun, and to is particle, translate, verb, right? So these all things are given. So the next one is about dependency parsing. So what is this dependency parsing? It is the process of analyzing the grammatical structure of a sentence based upon the dependencies between the words in the sentence. So how can I understand this? In dependency parsing, there are various tags that represent the relationship between two words in a sentence, right? So these tags are dependency tag. Say, for example, in the phrase, rainy weather, right? A rainy weather. Here the word rainy modifies the meaning of a noun weather, right? So therefore, a dependency exists from the weather, rainy in which a weather acts as the head and the rainy acts as dependent or child. So this dependency is represented as AMOD tag, which stands for the adjectival modifier, right? So how we can understand this is, see, there could be many exist. See, when we talk about rainy and weather, we could see some dependency, right? So similar to this, there exists many dependency among words in a sentence, but what you have to note down is a dependency involves only two words, in which one acts as the head and the other acts as the child. So as of now, there are 37 universal dependency relations, right? Like how to write down in the sentence, like import spacey. So NLP equal to spacey dot load and text is equal to then for token in NLP. And then here I have written. So basically I can use spacey for this, right? So if you look into this one, what you can see is like a dip underscore, right? So this returns the dependency tag for a word, and the head dot text returns the respective head word, right? So if you notice here in this basically the word, so in case if I give a word took over here, it has a dependency tag of root. So this tag is assigned to the word in which it acts as a head in some head of many words in a sentence, but it is not a child of any other word, right? So generally, it is basically the main verb of a sentence to, similar to took in this case, right? So the next one is about dependency passing. Like here you can see some arrows, right? So basically these arrows represent the dependency between two words, in which the word at the arrowhead is the child, right? So this is the child, and the word at the end of the arrow is head, right? Arrowhead is basically the child and this one, right? So the root word can act as the head of multiple words in a sentence, but it's not child of any other word. So the same example took, if I take, it has multiple outgoing arrows but none incoming, right? So therefore it is the root word. So one interesting thing about the root word is that you start tracing the dependencies in a sentence, you can reach the root word no matter from which word you start, right? So the next one is there actually the constituency parsing. That is the process of analyzing the sentences by breaking it into sub phrases, also known as constituents, right? So let me give you a small introduction about that also. This may be looking like this, right? So when we talk about this one, so you could have seen some features like this, right? Say for example, it's going to be like okay, let me tell you. So it's going to be like NP, right? You might have seen this in the internet, basically PRP, and this is going to be it. So in case, so here the words of the sentence, so here you can see that, say for example, here the first one I have written it, right? So here the POS tag for this it is basically PRP, right? So let me tell you, see what I am trying to say here is, okay, I have written NP, that is nothing but noun phrase, and VP if I write, that is verb phrase, right? So these are basically the constituent tags. So here how it will be taken is each sentence is taken and it is assigned to certain phrasing, right? So that is basically constituent phrasing, right? So we will be studying all these stuffs in detail in the practical session. Right, hope this video in this lecture I have explained clearly about parts of speech. So some introduction part we have got. So I guess you enjoy the lecture. Thank you.